Welcome friends to another r/I don't work here lady video. Our first story of the day is by Dragon Queen 1997. I was wearing Daisy Duke shorts. This makes me laugh just because of the shorts mostly. It was hot outside, so I was wearing a tank top and Daisy Duke shorts as I walked into the local hobby shop. I was also wearing my earbuds because I'm pretty antisocial. I was down one of the aisles when a couple of women approached me. They asked me where an item was and I said, "Oh, I'm not sure, sorry." And they asked, "Don't you work here?" Not in a Karen way, but in a "you seem to know your stuff" way. And I said, "No, I just like the store." Then I said this, "If I worked here, I'm pretty sure I'd be fired for wearing these shorts to work." And we were all sharing a laugh right as the manager, who knows me as a regular, walked by and heard what I said. He started laughing and responded, "We love your business, but you are absolutely right about that." They apologized, but I get it. Sometimes it happens. What matters is how the parties involved react and respond. Sorry this wasn't a crazy Karen story, but I still think it's funny even now, after a year and a half. Do you personally think that there would ever be a situation in which you would ask for help from an employee without making sure that they were very clearly wearing some kind of uniform? Let me know in the comments down below. This next story is by Overzealous. Target, Walmart. Nah, he's a physical therapist. I'm a physical therapist that works in a large hospital in my city. As a PT, I wear slacks and polos and have a badge with my pick, name, and credentials. This particular day, I was wearing a blue polo and khakis. One day, while on my lunch break, I just had to get out of the hospital, so I head over to Target to grab a few things the wife needed. Literally every time I go to any store wearing a polo, khakis, and a name tag, I will inevitably get asked for help from somebody. This particular day, a sweet 50s-ish trying to look 20-ish woman, we'll call her Karen, approaches me. She asks if I know where the automotive aisle is. I say yes, it's about 8 aisles back that direction, and I point. She asks if, "Do you have so-and-so?" And I say I believe they do, and then get back to my honey-do list. 5 minutes later, I'm in the linens aisle with a stack of sheets and towels, when Karen approaches me with a manager in tow gesturing wildly in my direction. This is the guy. This department manager could not be bothered to help me find my amber blinker fluid. Or whatever. At that moment, the employee, clad in a red polo, khaki pants, and radio, looks me up and down and says, "Ma'am, what in the world gives you the idea that this is a department manager for Target? If anything, judging by his shirt and pants combo, he could possibly work for Walmart, but as I see on his name tag the hospital logo, and then that DPT underneath this picture probably stands for Doctor Physical Therapy, I'd say he did his best to get you to the right aisle in the first place." Karen huffed and puffed and said, "Doctor my butt, idiot needs to get a real job." The employee said, "Ma'am, walk away." She started to interject and the employee said, "Be gone," and pointed to the front of the store. Totally dejected, she walks off with a huff. I'm just standing there with a what the freak look on my face and hadn't said a word yet. Then the employee just busted up and I just said, "That was weird, right?" He said thanks for the laugh, and then told me he was going to be applying to PT school in another year or so. I gave him my card and told him to come shadow me for his application hours. He was a super great kid. After he finished up his shadowing hours, he asked me to write a letter of recommendation for PT school. I included this little story in my letter, and he said at each of his school interviews, the interviewer made it a point to bring up this little story. He was offered spots in 2 different PT programs and graduates in 1 year. Makes me think of the old saying, "It's a small world after all." How awesome is it that a menial little funny interaction at a store turns out to be something so influential and monumental for somebody in their career? I think it's awesome that you can look back on this moment and not only just laugh about it, but know that that was a turning point in your career. This next story is by Main Garden Guy. I don't work for your store. A decade ago, I worked as the resident technician at Staples. I repaired computers for our store's customers. Our uniform was khakis and a black polo with a lime green collar and company name and logo on the chest. I got off shift and headed over to Best Buy to look at DVDs. While I'm there, I spot a regular customer of mine. She was an odd duck, but very sweet and used to being treated like crap because she dressed like a drag queen, even though she was just a little old lady in Maine. Think tan mom crossed with any super gaudy, gold everything, amateur drag queen. She just liked the weird clothes and outrageous makeup and nails. Anyway, she knows I don't work at Best Buy but couldn't get anyone to help her. I wasn't doing anything important, and she had bought hundreds of dollars of stuff for me over the last few months, so I started my sales questions. I like to know what people are looking for, what they intend to use the product for, and price range. Often people insist they need one thing, but actually need something completely different, and it's easier to ask rather than do exchanges. We go to the computer section and I try to find an associate while helping her. We hop on a demo laptop and I do a Best Buy search for things she might be interested in. What she wanted didn't appear to be in stock, so I switch over to the Staples site to see if we had it in stock. We did have it, and I told her I'd meet her at the store as soon as I finished buying DVDs. I said maybe 20 minutes, as my store was only a mile or so down the road from the mall. She left and I got into line. All of a sudden, I get yanked out of line by a man I've never seen in Best Buy floor manager attire. He proceeds to drag me to another register, and I'm thinking this is a rude way to open a new lane. He pulls me behind the register and tells me to open up and start ringing up customers. I just have a stupid look on my face as I don't know what's happening. I try to say that I don't work there, but he isn't listening. A couple of people are staring at us from other lines. I say I can help if they really need it, but I don't know how to work their system and I shouldn't be handling money since I don't work there. He gets all huffy, obviously not really listening. He punches in his code to unlock the register and walks off. I turn to look around bewildered. A few people are snickering. The cashier right next to that lane said, "What the heck was that?" I replied that I had no clue. I asked to speak to a manager. A call went out over the speaker system, and the same person came back and yelled at me for not working. I asked for his boss. He threw a tantrum, but the cashier called the store manager on her own, as they obviously saw that their floor manager was off their rocker. The GM comes over and asks what I'm doing behind a register, and I said I didn't know. I was just trying to buy 2 movies. The GM said that I shouldn't be trying to check myself out, and I said I wasn't trying to. The floor manager keeps spouting off that the new hires are awful. Then it clicks for the GM. I lay out the story, including how the register was unlocked for me and how I could have just emptied the register and taken off. The GM lays into the floor manager, pointing out my uniform to a competing store with a different color scheme. The floor manager realizes how stupid they had been and was told to wait in the GM's office. I got my stuff rung up and paid for at the register they had stuck me at, and I headed back to Staples. All in all, I spent an hour at Best Buy. It was a funny story to tell the lady waiting at Staples. My boss even had me log back in to ring her out and said he would log me out in an hour so I'd get paid for the time I spent making a sale in my off time. Now I've heard all about mess-ups, mix-ups, confusions. I think this is the first time I've ever heard of a manager getting completely confused on who's even working for them to the point of putting them in front of a bunch of basically free money. What a colossal blunder that was. And our final story of the day is by Gabriella Mint. Weird outfit equals employee apparently. I went to the store with my dad and I was decked out in randomness. I had beads on my shoes to show my pride flag colors, pastel rainbow horns headband, skull and crossbones leggings, killer croc t-shirt, and really long vampire hunter-like coat. In other words, I shouldn't have been mistaken for an employee. My dad didn't see any small carts inside and that's all we needed, so we went to grab one he had seen outside. I waited near the carts, staying out of the way. Someone came in, walked over to me and asked, "Do you have a bathroom here?" I said, oh, yeah, they do. It's to the left as you go in." She said thanks and went away. Later, me and my dad bumped into her again, and she asked me if I could help her find the paper plates. I said I was going that way anyway and took her there. Dad had asked me to grab them while he looked for something specific. I took her there and grabbed the paper plates I needed. She took them as I turned to go by her, thanking me for them. I looked at her weird before just slowly grabbing another thing of it. "Oh, I only needed one, thank you," she said in response to me grabbing it. I didn't know what to say, so I just quickly slipped by her and went back to my dad. Later, yet again, I was getting some deodorant, and this lady came up to me again. She asked me where a very specific kind of razor was. I just motioned towards the razors. "No, I need help finding very specific razor. I can't find it." I thought I was already taking too much time, but I didn't see any employees from the aisle, so I just stared at her blinking. When I do that, I don't speak. I barely blink, and sometimes I even hold my breath. This lady waved her hand near my face. "Hello?" "Hi," I said, most likely out of habit, then stopped myself and sighed. That got me out of my blinking, and I just looked towards the razors, then back to the deodorant, grabbing what I wanted to get. I looked around once more to see if I could see any employees. I didn't, so I just shrugged, trying to figure out what to tell the woman, but still coming up with nothing since it's hard for me to form sentences sometimes, and my brain was already fried for the day. "Come help me," she said in a more demanding tone. That just made my legs freeze up, and that's when Dad came to check on me because I was taking longer than I usually do. He saw the woman and thought I was talking to a lady from church. I turned to him and he came over with the cart, and I put the deodorant in. "Hi, I'm OP's dad. Kinda gotta pull her away so—" The lady cut him off. "No, you can't. She's busy helping me find a razor." The razors are over there. Listen, we gotta—" "I need help finding very specific razor. And she motioned to me, "is going to help me or I'm gonna get her fired." I mumbled a little, "Good luck with that one. Get me whoever is in charge, now." I looked at her, then to my dad who was trying not to laugh at this lady, till I giggled. Then he laughed, and my giggles turned into laughing. She was trying to talk to us, but I couldn't hear what she said. We went to the self-checkout, and I waited as Dad scanned everything. The woman came to check out and put her cart by a free machine. She looked around, and the first person she saw was me. She walked over. "At least check out my stuff. It's the least you can—" "Okay, that's enough," I shouted before blushing in embarrassment and looking down, slouching over, because my counseling has brought my overreactions down, but also the normal reactions to such things. We're working on it. "Excuse me?" One of the real employees walked over. She knew me because she's friends with my dad. Her tie-dye stuff is so cool too. "What's wrong, miss?" "This girl isn't helping me." "That's not her job. OP, do you even have a job?" I shook my head quiet. "Yeah, right, keep lying." "How could you mistake her as an employee?" "Mistake her as— she is an employee. She brought me to the paper plates. She told me where the bathroom is. Then this jerk too." She had motioned to my dad, and that one insult to him set me off. "That's it, shut your mouth, you stupid jerk. I don't work here, and you have no right to call my dad that. On top of that, you're calling this employee a liar for telling the truth? What the heck's wrong with you?" She shut up after I yelled at her like that. I took a few deep breaths and took my headband off, fixed my hair, and put it back on. "You're not an employee then?" I looked at her like she was stupid. "Okay, sorry, I didn't realize." "Even when you were told I'm not an employee?" She walked back to her cart quietly and began to check her stuff out. The worker made sure I was okay before going to help a customer. Dad got on me about my yelling, then said he probably would have done the same, just sooner. Mom got a small laugh out of it due to my outfit and all. In fact, I'm almost laughing at some of this, remembering how stupid it was. It's funny how the lady doesn't need any more help after everybody else pointed out how dumb they looked. They walked off with their tail between their legs, and hey, for some reason, all of a sudden they don't need anybody checking them out. Funny how that works, huh? But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So if you have a favorite story of the day, let me know which story and why in the comments down below. But besides that, if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like, and if you haven't, subscribe and turn notifications on so you'll never miss an upcoming video. No matter what you do, whether it's just viewing the video, liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, I appreciate the heck out of it. Every little thing that you do helps the channel grow that much more, and I can't thank you enough for it. So until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll be right here next time on the Storytime channel.